Hi, I'm Teresa Chang.
Hi, I'm Felicia Grant Cummings.
Hi, I'm Kim Johnson with Moms Navigating Autism.
Welcome to the show. Tonight we have Coach Rodriguez from the Challengers Little League team in Cortlandt Manor. We're excited to talk about this team, and he'll tell us all about it tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate, being here. I guess I'll start with an overview of the Little League Challenger program in general. Little League, as you know, is a international organization for youth baseball. They founded a Challenger division in 1989, and it's their adaptive baseball program for individuals with physical and intellectual challenges. Or any individual with a challenge of any kind is able to participate. The Challenger division accommodates players from ages 4 to 18, or even up to age 22, if you're still enrolled in school. And also there is a senior Challenger division, which players can play on starting from age 15, and that there's no maximum age limit for that division. The players can play as long as they like. As far as Cortlandt American Little League, we started our program in 2009. My son was 7 at the time. He enjoys it immensely, looks forward to it every year. We also have incorporated the Cortlandt Challenger program into our program. So we have 2 teams, mixed teams, 10 players each. We meet on Saturdays at 4:30. We have about a half hour worth of practice. And then a game that lasts 2 or 3 innings, usually about an hour. So by 6 o'clock, everything's wrapped up. And it's 1 day a week. We have repeat customers, let's say, for at least the past 15 years and even beyond that.
It's a great program. I can tell you, my son was on this team from its inception. He was in the Croton program, and he's made lifelong friends there. He really enjoyed that program because it was the closest to what you see the regular little leagues have. They participate in everything. They get trophies at the end of the year. They get uniforms like the little league team, and they are included in everything. And when you go to, if they're in the parades or whatever ceremony that the little league is having, they were included, and you can't even tell that they're a special needs team at all. The difference that they do have was, and it's what sold me on this program, because I worked in the city at the time, I didn't have time to actually make all these practices that regular little league teams have. And I could never make it home in time to take my son to these practices. So there were no practices except for the day of the games. So that sold me on the program. Because you're working in the city, you have to get back, you have to rely on the train. It's not always easy to do. So it really sold me on that program. And he enjoyed it. They had buddies at the time. The teams didn't have it, but they had buddies either through the local high school, the local community teams, or the parents would step in. My son left. And so did a few of his friends, because, after a while, they move on to other things. But from what I understand, after talking to Coach Rodriguez earlier, there's still some kids from when my son was on the team that are still going strong.
Could you explain a little bit about the teams that they play against, where they're located? Is it all over Westchester, the other teams? Are they out of the county? Who do they play against when they play in their games?
Okay, so currently we play most of our games against each other.
Okay,
We have two teams. We try to separate them so they have matching abilities for each team. We do play one road game a year, and that's in LaGrange. LaGrange has a very big, great challenger program, and we love to partner up with them every year. But most of our games are played in Portland against each other. About a half hour's worth of practice and about an hour's worth of game once a week from April to mid-June. And
now who could join the Cortland team? Do you have to be a Cortland resident, or are there other challenger leagues again in the rest of the county where you go and find a challenger team that's in where you live?
so the Little League programs are divided up into areas by school district. Currently, Cortland American, there's two Cortland teams, there's Cortland American and Cortland National. Cortland National does not have a challenger program. I believe it's Yorktown, Lakeland, Mayapack, Somers, possibly Ossining.
They're Cortland.
But they can all join Cortland, no problem.
Peekskill's included in that also? Peekskill?
So Peekskill has a Little League program. I don't think they have a challenger team. The reality is that anybody who wants to play in our team and can come to our field for most of the games can join. We don't exclude anybody because of where they live.
As he just said, and it's what I thought, because like I said, my son played on the Croton team and we were not residents of Croton, but he was allowed to play on it. So I think they have a sort of a backdoor. So if your child has special needs and wants to join the Challenger League, not the Challenger team, they will allow them to join the Challenger team no matter where you live.
Absolutely. And also, so just to your question, if you go on to littleleague.org, there's a link called Find Your League.
Okay.
Put in your address, they will tell you and
Who to contact, all the
check
contact.
off Challenger division. They will bring up the 10 closest Challenger teams to your home.
Okay, that's good
So,
to know.
you know,
How many teams do you know of that have Challenger teams through the Little League?
so I only personally know of LaGrange, Monroe. Brewster had a Challenger team, and then their coach left. They were moving, and I think the team disbanded. But like I said, obviously anybody who wants to play for us are welcome, and I'm sure it's that way with all the other Challenger teams.
Right, because there's not that many of them.
Is there a cost to join the team?
So yes, uniforms are included. Most children bring their own gloves.
Right, that
But
was
we supply equipment also for anybody who needs it.
but you did have to buy the pants. And the nice part about it is there were kids that had sensory issues, and I don't know if it's still the same. And if they didn't want to wear the Little League pants, they would wear shorts or whatever made them comfortable.
Right. So we've kind of gotten away from the pants. So we look more like a softball team now. So everybody's wearing shorts or, whatever, sweatpants or whatever they'd like. But the uniforms are the shirts and the hats. Oh, and back to your point, the cost for our league is $30.
Yeah.
And when does it start and when does it end? How long is the season for baseball?
So the season is approximately 10 games. We start in mid-April.
Okay.
We have an opening day parade where the whole league gets together and we march down onto the field, and there's some speeches, and there's food trucks, and it lasts about an hour and a half. everybody gets together from the whole league for this day. And then going forward from that, we run from about the third week in April to about the third week in June.
Okay.
I've just been told that Coach Rodriguez is not Coach Rodriguez, it's Coach Rodrigue. And I am sorry for that.
You mentioned there was 2 mixed teams that play against each other, but you also mentioned seniors also for age 18 and up, I think you said. Is there not currently a seniors team right now?
No, so we do have a seniors team. We have players as old as 31 on our team. We're not playing enough different teams where we can separate the older
Split it into 2
kids
teams,
from
okay.
the younger kids. So we mix the teams to try to equal out the ability. And we play a game. It's, I don't know if you've had any experience with T-ball, but it's kind of like a T-ball game.
Okay,
I guess we have, 20 minutes to a half hour practice. We do a little fielding, a little batting. Then we have a 2-inning game. Everybody gets up to bat twice. Everybody plays out in the field twice. We have some players that don't feel comfortable, say, playing the infield. So they will play maybe in the outfield with a buddy, and they'll have a catch while the other team is batting. But then there are players that are right in there and run after every ball hit, and you have
Kind of bad news bears style.
you can still have those pileups where 6 players are all going for the ball at one time. So, but it's a lot of fun. My son enjoys it. I can't imagine him not playing.
I'm asking some of these questions because I know, people that are watching possibly, when it came to me finding a program for my son, I was interested in looking in the classrooms to see if there was children with the same abilities as my son, or the same disabilities as my son. For example, my son is nonverbal. He's not very steadily on his feet. At times for long walks, he's in a wheelchair, but he can walk. So I mean, so as far as people with different abilities, are there more people with more severe disabilities and nonverbal that are on the teams that you have? Or are they more higher functioning, or from what level to level do you have currently on your teams?
Right. So we have players that, for instance, can't hit a pitched ball.
Okay.
Which is not a problem because we have a tee readily available. Everybody's on board with that. It's good. We sometimes, if they're, on the cusp of maybe hitting a ball, we'll pitch to them for 5 or 8 or 10 pitches and then move on to the tee. It's a fairly wide range of people with different challenges.
Like understanding to run, they run the bases as well in this league. They'll run base to base.
Yes, they do.
Correct.
Are people throwing the ball to get them out, just like you do in a regular game, or because, say my son doesn't understand he's supposed to run to first base, second base, he doesn't know he's going to be out, he'll probably keep running. So
no one makes an out.
Okay.
You hit the ball, player will try to field it and try to throw it over to first. But if he gets thrown out, he still stays on the base.
Okay.
He still gets a hit. The whole team bats, the whole team hits, and at the end of the inning, the last player hits a home run, and they round the bases.
Right.
So you have creative scorekeeping.
Right,
So
exactly.
Yeah, there's no scorekeeping.
Okay.
For a while, we would turn the scoreboard on, and then at the end of every inning, we'd even up the score. So it was tie, and it would be tie at the end of the game. But it's really not about that. The kids don't care. They're out there having fun, running around, kicking up dust. So
Right. It was a great experience. And from what I saw from the kids that didn't understand the game or didn't have the ability to understand the game, the parent could be the buddy. It depended on the child. If the child wanted the parent, if the child didn't want to learn from the parent and wanted to be more independent and would prefer to learn from someone else, they would have a buddy. And that buddy, if the child hit it, then the buddy would be like, put down the bat, let's go running, and would guide them to first base. And then,
Mhm.
when the next player came on, the buddy would guide them to the second base and all the way until we got home. It was, it was a really good experience.
Yes, and we still employ the buddy system for any player that wants it. A lot of times a family member, either a parent or a sibling, will be their buddy, but we have buddies there who will, like you said, be with the player in the field, not to field the ball for them or anything like that, but just to make sure that, they don't get hurt,
Mhm.
but also to guide them,
And give them little prompts.
prompts, right? Let's run in and get the ball, or you have to run back and get the ball, or throw it to second base or whatever it may be. And then the same with batting. The buddy will guide the player to the correct base when they're running. And if they need help or assistance hitting the ball, we or the coaches or the buddy will also assist them with batting.
How long has this program been in existence?
Okay.
With the Cortlandt team,
Mhm.
since 2009. I was one of the founding coaches, let's say. So I've been involved with the team since its inception.
Okay.
Tom
So with
DeNovo and Luke
Right.
Rougier approached us and asked
Right.
us if we were interested in starting a team. It kind of took off from there.
So the Croton team started, I remember that's when Tom came to a meeting and said he was starting it. I want to say 2007, spring of 2007, somewhere around there.
That sounds about right.
We need to get more players out there. This is
We
a
do.
great program. It really is. My son learned a lot there, and he met his best friend there. And a few other friends he has that he's still kept in touch with. He met them there, and they've formed a great bond there.
Is Cortland open to building the teams, more teams, actually, more than 2 teams? Like if people watch this and like, hey, I never knew that existed, I'd like to get my child. And the other question is it just boys or is it girls too?
Both.
Oh, okay. Nobody said that yet. So, okay.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
girls also. Okay.
It's boys and girls.
Okay.
We have about a 50-50 split between boys and girls.
Okay.
We would absolutely be open to, so if our team expanded to say 30 players, at that point, then we would be reaching out to other leagues to try to play some more road games.
Okay.
Where maybe we could have 2 teams play on our home field against each other, and then one of those teams, the third team, be traveling that week.
You could alternate between the teams even. So
Exactly.
everybody gets that experience.
Exactly.
So now it's you, Coach Regier, and Coach Soto.
Mhm.
You only have the 3 coaches.
So we're the 3 official coaches,
Okay.
but there are a few other parents that step up every week. They may not be listed on the program, but they're there every week helping out, whether it's on the field. We have to set up the field every week, line it and rake it, and we also have to do that at the end of every game. So there are parents and siblings who volunteer for that every single week. We even have a couple of players now that are interested in field maintenance, so we get a couple of kids out there raking after the games. So
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite a community. I hope people out there are listening. This is a great program. Bring your kids out there. no matter what level, call up, find out your nearest Little League. And if you can't travel up to Cortland or down to Cortland or wherever, then ask your Little League to open up a Challengers League, because then you could play against Cortland, and Cortland will have more teams to play against. But you got to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Push that through. If you have a Little League organization in your area, they can absolutely open a challenger division. And hey, if you start with 5 players, that's great. It'll grow. Ours certainly has. And we would look forward to having more competition.
And honestly, when Tom opened, I was there. When the Croton Little League first started up in our area, I was there. And the first time around, it already had more than 12 players. There were a lot of parents that brought their kids out to play ball. And it's an amazing opportunity. And I think that because the parents want something that is as close as something that they had when they were kids, they brought their kids out, and they actually ended up liking it.
Yes. I also invite anybody who's watching, if you'd like to come and watch a game to see what we're all about, please do.
That's what I was going to ask. Do
Are
people
you
have the
looking
option
for
to just come
volunteers and buddies?
and watch and check it out,
Oh, 100%. Even if they want to play with us for a game and try it out, that's perfectly fine. We'd be more than happy to have them come and see what we're all about. We play Saturdays at 4:30 at St. Columbanus Field, which is located at 22 Pump House Road in Cortland Manor. And if you do come up to me or one of the other coaches, introduce yourself, introduce your player, and we'll be more than happy to show them the ropes.
Yeah, it definitely is. My son has lifelong friends from that team. And you send your kids to school, they put them in programs, but as I was saying earlier, you have kids of all different abilities. My son has higher abilities, but he knows that he's different. He doesn't always fit in with the regular kids, but he found kids that are more like him, and it made him feel like he was accepted. And
Yes.
it was great. It was great. And as I said, he would invite kids on his baseball team to his birthday parties. And actually, one of the mothers came up to me and said, I am so glad that my son joined this team, because this was the first birthday party he'd ever been invited to.
Wow.
I think that this is a good program. I think that other teams need to be formed in other areas so that they can play against each other. There are enough teams to play against each other. And I think that people should get their kids out there. There is one standing. Cortland is out there. It's standing. Bring your kids out there. See if they like it. Have them play a game. Reach out to them.
Yes, 100%. Anybody who wants to play, please come by. We'd be more than happy to have them and show them around.
And nobody batted an eye. And what I loved about it is, yes, we all have kids on the spectrum, and yes, they all behave differently, and yes, they go through times where they're nice and calm. Even the calmest ones, they're nice and calm, and then all of a sudden they'll have a meltdown. And your kid could have a meltdown. They could be throwing things, getting down on the floor, or hitting you, not viciously, but hitting you from their frustration, and nobody bats an eye. It's your child is not bad. Child is, everybody understands. And
No judgment zone.
Right. Nobody bats an eye, and everything just keeps going on. And it's not, I know a lot of people with kids on the spectrum, they don't want to take their kids to certain places because if they go into a meltdown, it becomes an embarrassing situation. But everybody understands. Everybody understands. I've seen it happen, and nobody bats an eye. parent comes back and everybody just, it understands,
Yes.
It happens. Yeah.
it happens, it's not,
Yeah.
it's a very comfortable situation. The parents feel like they can go somewhere, and if this happens, nobody's going to judge them. We want to thank Coach Rodrigue for joining us tonight and telling us all about the Cortlandt Challenger Little League program. We encourage everyone to go and check the program out. Bring your kids. They'll let them play for a day. Contact them.
We'd also like to thank Altis for allowing us to use this platform to share our ideas and thoughts as moms.
You can watch us on social media. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
And we want to remind everybody that we are mothers. We're not professionals. We're sharing our experiences so that we can help you with your autism child.